This morning, South Africa witnessed one of the most heated and combative parliamentary sessions in recent history. A political moment that is already being analyzed throughout the country. At the center was Gayton McKenzie, the fiery leader of the Patriotic Alliance who launched a scathing verbal attack on President Cyril Ramaphosa. The minute McKenzie stood up at the podium, it became apparent that this was going to be no ordinary session. The air was charged, almost explosive, with each sentence building the tension and eliciting clear gas from MPs on both sides of the floor. What followed was much more than a straightforward opposition rebuke. McKenzie's address was a deliberate and thorough demolition of Ramaphosa's presidency, a body blow to his leadership, his policies, and even his own credibility. An initial formal address rapidly becoming a heated political crucible that compelled even the most detached members of parliament to sit up and take notice. Before McKenzie had completed, the one question on the minds of the observers and lawmakers alike was, might this be the time the era of Ramaphosa's rule is coming to an end? McKenzie was quick to bear his grievances. He charged that the president had failed South Africans on all fronts, from administration to the economy, from public security to the essential tenet of accountability. His words hung a bleak and unflinching picture of a country in the hands of what he characterized as a man of broken promises and broken trust. To McKenzie, this was not a matter of political difference. It was a charge. He did not hesitate to discuss corruption charges, going as far as to reference pending scandals and blaming Ramaphosa for shielding corrupt government officials in his own party. The ANC McKenzie stated that the rot in the government was not a product of lax oversight, but the outcome of intentional shielding of culprits at the top. His own metaphor for the government, a ship without a captain, foundering under greed and incompetence, met with murmurs and headshakes, even on some of the ruling benches. The opposition leader's rhetoric was biting, unforgiving, and occasionally appallingly personal. He portrayed Ramaphosa as hiding behind idealistic rhetoric while state institutions collapsed, public services collapsed, and normal citizens suffered the consequences of system failure. Every sentence was crafted to cut deep, to remove the patina of stability the presidency has tried to present. To many viewers at home, McKenzie's words resonated. To them, this was not political theater, but overdue reckoning and incensed call-out of failures that have irked citizens for years. The ANC benches, however, responded with outrage. As soon as McKenzie made his first big accusation, shouts and interruptions erupted. President's loyal MPs jumped to his defense and labeled the speech irresponsible, reckless, and divisive. But their efforts to derail McKenzie only served to encourage him more. As the meeting became more tumultuous, Parliament was reduced to turmoil. MPs stood up yelling across the floor as the Speaker continuously appealed for order to little avail. The commotion and bedlam expressed not only the emotional intensity of the moment but the level of political polarization. It was no longer a routine debate. It had escalated into a symbolic confrontation regarding the future of the country. The drama was telecast live, attracting South African viewers from far and wide. Social media sites went berserk as excerpts of McKenzie's address were shared worldwide, with people arguing fervently in living rooms, offices, and street corners alike. For some, this was not just about parliamentary theatre. It was a reflection held up to the politics of the country. The Patriotic Alliance, while much smaller in terms of representation than the ANC or DA, has been steadily building steam over the past few years. Much of that growth has been due to South Africans who have lost faith in the traditional political establishment. By confronting Ramaphosa so squarely and so publicly, McKenzie is standing up for those people who feel betrayed, overlooked, or simply frustrated with broken promises. The concerns he leveled are ones that strike deep into the national psychology, with the sluggish, uneven recovery, the intractably high unemployment rate, the intractable shadow of corruption scandals that won't go away. To many voters, these are not political abstractions. They are everyday facts. McKenzie's frankness, his readiness to name and shame, has spoken to that frustration. Meanwhile, The episode highlighted internal weakness in the ANC. The intensity of the response by the governing party and the failure to calm the chamber suggested far greater fissures. If a speech by the leader of a comparatively marginal opposition party can bring so visible chaos to Parliament, what does that put in for the ANC's solidarity? Party harmony, at least in the public sphere, looked anything but unshakable. Maybe the most mystifying aspect of the day's theatre has been the president's own response, or rather his absence of one. In the hours that elapsed since McKenzie's address, Ramaphosa remained tight-lipped about issuing any vigorous public response. No passionate vindication of his record, no counterattack against his critics' reputation, not even a sharp clarification of the charges. This quiet has been the subject of curiosity among political pundits and commentators. Some interpret it as a deliberate move, an effort to stand above the fray, to exude calmness and steadiness and allow the den of the moment to pass. Others interpret it as a weakness, an inability or refusal to act strongly in the face of a mounting political tempest. Without explanation, speculation swells. A number of political insiders suggest that in private, Ramaphosa is moving to secure his mandate among important ANC power brokers in an attempt to halt the parliamentary drama from building into a full-blown leadership crisis. But there could also be the case that this caught the presidency unawares, that McKenzie's surgical strike laid bare weaknesses the administration wasn't expecting. Whatever the fact, the optics are difficult to ignore. A colorful and widely noticed challenge has been greeted by silence. And in politics, silence is golden. It can convey confidence, but it can also connote withdrawal. For Ramaphosa, the danger is that the public reads it as the latter. South Africa in the meantime is at a crossroads. McKenzie conflict is not a personal feud. It embodies greater tensions within the country's political and societal life. It brings with it urgent questions about the nature of governance, the responsibility of leaders, and the ability of current political institutions to provide the change that citizens expect. As McKenzie's words rang out outside the Parliament halls this morning, they bore with them the millions of voices that have been left behind by decades of political inertia. His accusation against the president's leadership was not framed in diplomatic euphemism. It was immediate, raw, and articulated by a man who is convinced the future of the country hangs in the balance. Whether one perceives him as a populist opportunist or as a much-needed truth-teller, his message has squarely landed in the middle of the national discourse.